Hello everyone and welcome to my latest tutorial. And today's tutorial is a bit of a match day image, or it could be a poster of your favourite club. And today I'm just going to use Rangers. So I'm giving the SPL a bit of love. Not had an SPL tutorial as of yet. And if you're unfamiliar, Rangers are 11 points clear now, I think, at the top of the SPL. So they're absolutely flying, and Steven Gerrard is trying to stop Celtic winning 10 in a row. So I know a lot of Celtic fans won't be happy with that. And just as a bit of a disclaimer, I favour neither one nor the other. I know how big the rivalry is in football between Glasgow and Celtic, but today I just wanted to use Rangers as an example, bit of a match day image, bit of a football poster. So without further ado, I'm going to get straight into it. So create a new document. So if you're new to Photoshop, I'm using a Mac, so you can press Command N, OK, or Control N if you're using Windows, and you want 1200 pixels by 1600 pixels, resolution 144 pixels per inch, RGB color 8-bit, and the background, go for a white background, and click OK, and then click OK there. But what I've done is I've already set up good to go, because some of these players I've had to cut out. Usually I get them from footballrenders.com. Link will be in the description below. However, there's a limited supply of Rangers players on Footy Renders, so I've had to go into Google Images, did an advanced search, found some images, and I've cut them out. What I'll do is I will add the PSD file to this tutorial. That way you can take these players as well if you want to practice using this document. But for now, I'm just going to ignore that layer. So we've got our background layer here. So the first thing I'm going to do is, this is the screen that you should have. I'm going to drop in this scratch texture. So again, this will be in the document as well. It's an old legacy file that I had on my computer. I don't know where I got it from, so go ahead and download the PSD file, and if you look closely, you can see the texture that we're using compared to the white background. So press Command 0 there, and Command 0 zooms you out and resizes your document. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to extend it. I'm going to hold Alt, and I'm just going to place it something like that. I'm going to hit Enter. Happy days. So we've got our scratch texture. Okay, now this is where I would bring in the players. So one at a time, you can slowly bring them in. So as you can see, I've placed Steven Gerrard at the back as the manager. So let's see how we would do it. So place Steven Gerrard, and now what you can do is, if you've got your ruler along here, if you don't see your ruler at the top or the side, press Command R. Okay, and that brings your ruler up. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drag a line into the middle. In fact, I'm going to make sure I've got my background layer selected. Make sure it's nice and central, and it'll just click in there. You see that click in there? Happy days. Okay, and I'm going to select Steven Gerrard. Alright, and I'm just going to place him just off centre a little bit. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in some of these players celebrating. Then I'm going to bring in Ryan Kent doing his trademark signature, former Liverpool youth player. And then Morales, and then I can't pronounce his name, Hagi. Hagi. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to roughly place them around to how you would like it. Okay, try and be proportionate. Okay, it's entirely up to you where you actually place them on the images, but I've gone for something like this, where they're all sticking out. And then next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a layer mask. So I'll give the Steven Gerrard example what I'm talking about. So this layer mask here, if I enable it there, okay, you can see where I've brushed away. So I'll just delete that. So a layer mask means we can work non-destructively. So I'm going to go down to this little icon at the bottom down here. Okay, and that's your layer mask. So if you are familiar with Photoshop, I do apologise if I'm speaking very basic. And you'll see this little window pop up. Now you want to make sure you've got black selected here. Hit B on your keyboard for your brush tool. Okay, I've just right clicked there, double clicked. I'm going to select a soft brush. Okay, I'm going to have my flow around 50, and bring the opacity down to about 50 as well. Now what this does is, when I paint now, the pixels will disappear, but they won't be deleted. So I just go across there, you can see how it's getting rid of it. Now if I was to increase the opacity, increase the flow, it would just get rid of it in one straight go like that. Okay, but I like to do it gradually, so I like to bring it down to around 50% for both of them. Slide them down roughly about there. Okay, and you can control how much you'd like to disappear. Now, what I find is it's easier if you bring all your other players in. Okay, and then what you can do is you can just brush away whatever you don't need, like so. And we'll do another one as well, so I'll delete that layer mask there. The player's celebrating again, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to click this little icon, layer mask. This little window pops up. Make sure you've got black selected. Okay, and I'm just going to paint across. Now, what it means is the pixels are not being deleted, but if you want to bring them back, you swap those colours over there, so you've got white selected, and white paints it back on. It's a handy little tool, and it's worth learning, so if you are new to Photoshop, definitely have a play around with a layer mask, and try and go for a nice, decent effect. But what I'm doing is I am struggling, so I'll just go back to and I can't. Okay, what we'll do is we'll just quickly do it. So 40%. In fact, I'm going to bring it up a little bit. 60. A little bit stronger. Okay, and what I'm trying to do is I'm just trying to get rid of that line there where I've just cut the players out. That's it. Just go across there like that. Again, if you want to make it easier, just up the opacity, up the flow. Something like that. So it looks like they're just getting blended in there. And then as you can see, I've done it for Ryan Kent there, I've done it for Morales there, and I've done it for Haggle, just there. Apologies, not sure of his name. But what I've done down here is, in fact, what we'll do is we'll delete this one. Okay, what I've done is created a layer mask, got my black selected. I've got a nice soft brush. Okay, the hardness has really turned down. Okay, now if you hold shift on your keyboard, and it'll drag straight across, so you can keep a straight line. And makes the ball nice and soft. Something like that, and on his boot as well. Careful not to go onto the ball just there. You just lift off and re-tap as well. It helps. And there we go. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is, as well, while I'm here, so just I'm going to set Morales just here. I'm going to create a new layer. So it's below this player. I'm not going to say his name. I can't pronounce it. It's below this chap here. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to add a shadow. So I'm just using my bracket keys on my keyboard. I'm making it slightly bigger. Okay, I'm going to right click or double click from Windows, and this little icon here, I'm just going to drop down. You can see it's flattened our shadow. Now it doesn't quite look right, so I'm just going to lift it up a little bit, change the angle just a fraction. There we go. And if you see, if I click there, we get paint on the shadow. Now press Command Z, it takes you back one. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to line it up just there. I'm going to click a couple of times, and then I might use the bracket key a couple of times, just make it a little bit bigger. And we've got ourselves a shadow. Okay, so I used around 60% for flow and opacity there. Have a little play around and see what you think, and we can name that shadow. So we've got our players here. Now what I'm going to do is, just in case anything goes wrong, mess it up, what I like to do is I like to duplicate them. So if you've got all your players together, just select the top layer, hold shift down, select the bottom layer, and press Command G, and that will group the layers. And then once you've got your group, okay, just rename it players. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate them. So I'm going to press Command J, okay, and it duplicates them there. And I'm just going to hide the bottom layer. Okay, and that is just our backup. Okay, so we can effectively forget about this one. Okay, what I'm going to do is as well, once I've got them grouped, I'm going to right click and I'm going to convert them to a smart object, and it just turns them into a layer. So they're all grouped now, so I can't move an individual player. They're all one big group. So we've got our players then, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate it again. So I'm going to press Command J. Okay, and with this top layer, so we've got 3 layers. So we've got 1 layer hidden, we've got the first layer, and now we've got our duplicate of the first layer. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Filter, Other, and High Pass. I'm going to give it a HD effect. So I've got 2 pixels for the radius. I'm going to click OK, and then I'm going to go to my blend modes. I'm going to change it to Overlay. And if you see, if I zoom in a little bit, if I just click it on and off, you can see how we've made it a little bit more sharper, and we've basically brought out a few of the details. So that's looking fantastic. Next, what I am going to do is I'm going to go down here to an adjustment layer. Okay, I'm going to start with black and white, and I'm going to go to the blue filter, and I'm going to close that. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a clip-in mask. Okay, so it looks a bit naff at the minute, but don't worry about that too much. So a clip-in mask basically means it's going to affect the layer underneath. So I'm going to hold Alt on my keyboard, hover between the 2 layers, and this icon pops up, and click it, and it just gives them a bit of a blue filter, but it'll pop out a little bit more shortly. Alternatively, what you can do is if I hold Alt and hover between, I can get rid of that clipping mask, or you can right click or double click, go down on your menu there, you see create clipping mask. Okay, and basically means whatever adjustment layer you're using will only affect the layer underneath. But I'm going to change the blend mode to darken. Again, you can't really see much of a difference, but when we add all the other layers it will, and I'm going to change the opacity down to 30%. Next, I'm going to go for a hue and saturation filter, so back down to my adjustment layers, I'm going to go to hue, saturation, I'm going to drag this down to -10, just there because I want to play around with the colours. I'm going to drag the saturation down to -80, and I'm just going to darken it to -7. Okay, so it's starting to take shape now of how we want it, and again I'm going to hold Alt, I'm going to hover and create a clipping mask. And I'm going to go to another saturation layer, adjustment layer, sorry. I'm going to go to color balance. I'm going to go to the shadows. Okay, and the cyan is going to be -10. And the blue is going to be +15. I'm going to go to the highlights. I'm just going to go to +5. And I'm going to clip it just there. Okay, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to change the blend mode of my color balance to pin light. Where are you, pin light? There we go, pin light. And what I'm going to do is what I forgot to do before. So this HD layer that we've got here, I'm just going to clip that. And there we go. There we've now achieved our effect. So let me just compare and contrast. Pin light, opacity 100, normal, darken 30%. Happy days. So there we go. We've achieved our effect now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add some text. So I'm going to create a new layer above this layer. So this is going to be our text layer. Okay, I'm going to go over here to the text tool. Okay, or you can just press the type tool, sorry, and I'm using Babus Noi, can't pronounce that one again. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to select down here and I'm just going to write Matchday. Okay, you can type whatever you want, type the name of your football club. Okay, this is just the example that I'm using. I'm just going to grow it. I'm just going to drag it. What we'll do is I'll line it up on that line so it's locked in. It's coming from the left. I'm just going to grow it something like that. Now what I'm going to use is a gradient tool, so let me try and get this right. Um, Yep, gradient tool. So what I'm going to do is, in fact, what I'm going to do is, no, I've done that wrong. I'm not going to use the gradient tool. I'm just going to go back to the type tool there. So we've got our word there. I'm just going to double click. Okay, and I'm going to come in and I'm going to go to gradient overlay. There we go, found it in the end. Okay, and you can see I've got the blend mode to normal. They pass it 100. Okay, and the gradient there. Okay, I've put in these two colours here. So come in here. This might be black and white as a bit of a default when you see it. Okay, so the first colour that I've used is 0B244D. 0B244D. Click OK, and then the darker colour that I've used, okay, is 181B35. 181B35, and click OK. Now again, you can use these colours with most clubs. I do like it. However, it suits quite well with Rangers playing in blue. Okay, angles at 90%, it's linear. Okay, the scale's 100%, so you can have a little play around with that. It's dark at the top, light at the bottom, and I'm going to click OK. Yeah, fantastic. So what we're going to do now is just going to add a few shapes in. So what do we do first? Yeah, so we'll throw some shapes in. A bit like me down the pub dancing to the music. Throw some shapes in. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my rectangle tool over here. Okay, so press just U on your keyboard. Make sure you've got shape selected. Okay, we'll start off with a fill. So what colour? Keep flapping. What colour do we use? Where have they gone? Red, blue, red. So we'll go red, blue, red. So what we'll do is we will just drag something like that. Close that. I'm going to go to my fill up here, and I've already got this red selected. Okay, it's just the bright standard red. Okay, the brightest one you can get. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate it, Command J, hit V on my keyboard tool. Okay, and I'll start knocking them across. This is where I like to be precise. So when I first see that gap, so I've duplicated it, Command J, and then I've nudged them across. When I see the gap, I click them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, go something like that. And we'll duplicate it again, press Command J, so we've got 3 shapes. And then V, so the move tool still selected. Just click across, you start seeing a gap. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you know the pixels are the same. Select this middle layer. Okay, go back to your rectangle tool, your shape tool, sorry. Okay, fill, I'm just going to change to this bright blue. Happy days, Command 0. Okay, and what I can do is select this bottom layer, hold shift, select the top layer. So they're all selected now, and you can just move them up slightly. Hit V on your keyboard tool and move them up. Now as you can see, they're not quite aligned with the Matchday, so how we can navigate that. Select Matchday, okay, and just drag in a ruler and it'll lock in to the middle of your text. If you press Command T now, my transform tool, you'll see it's in the middle of those lines. Okay, and we'll just click off there. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to select these 3 here, press Command T, just going to zoom in a little bit. I'm using my pad to zoom in and go for something like that. Got our shapes here. Press Command G, that groups them. Command J duplicates them. Command T brings up your transform tool. Okay, and I'm just going to drag them straight up. Save me doing it all again. And we'll place them somewhere like there. And then I'll bring in the Rangers logo. So again, this document will be able to download with all the files on. I'm just going to place that. And the line's already there. Something like that. Hit enter. Command 0 brings it back out. Okay, you can press Command H to get rid of your lines. Okay, so I'm going to select this Rangers logo, hold Shift, I'm going to select the bottom group of layers, and I'm going to press Command G again to group them. I'm going to name that Shapes. And I'm going to desaturate it now. Let's see what I did on this one. -50. So we'll do something similar. So adjustments layer, Hue Saturation. This little icon here clips it if you're not done so already. Oh, -51 straight in there. There we go. And it's clipped, so it's only affecting the shapes, as you can see there. And I believe that is our image. There we go. There, Matchday image. Okay, you can fill in some more information up here along the sides or wherever you propose. For Matchday images such as the location, the time, the venue, etc. So yeah, hope you enjoyed this Photoshop tutorial. If you did, please hit like, and if you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing and check out my other videos. A lot of people ask me how to do stuff, and I've already got videos on how to do that sort of stuff, so go check it out, have a look around. It's just a Photoshop channel just to try and help people learn Photoshop through sports editing. So hope you enjoyed it, thanks for watching, and I will see you in a tutorial very soon.